You can't make this shit up. I'm Kellen Clark, David Washington. We are your political innovators here in Central Florida, and your hosts today. David, what have we?
All right. Undocumented migrant workers are nervous to be in Florida due to fear of deportation. These workers have been very helpful, incredibly helpful, in the cleanup of debris following natural disasters throughout Florida's history. Florida's new immigration law is preventing migrant workers from being able to help those in need who have been uprooted by recent severe weather. Are people sympathetic because of cruel immigration laws or losing out on cheaper labor? David and Kellen get to work to discuss the latest economic issue facing the Sunshine State. Say that real fast 5 times.
Oh,
Let's
no,
go.
thank you.
Let's go.
No, thank you. There is obviously huge economic advantages in general, most of the time, when
Mhm.
you just leave the people in, because usually, I mean, the fear of them taking jobs, it's only ever affected on a minor scale. Usually, it provides more than it takes, and as you explained earlier, they have been an integral part in disaster cleanup. But I'd also like to prompt this: it's not they you say undocumented immigrants are scared for deportation, but they are undocumented. Should it be unusual for them to be concerned?
I believe being an undocumented migrant worker here in the United States, you're always going to be concerned because of the fact that you're here illegally. And however, you are contributing to the well being of the local economy, the local community, and of course, your family. And so there's always going to be that concern. I would be concerned when I was overseas working. I had my passport and everything like that, but I was always concerned that, what if I had some concern or issue that required some type of medical or legal intervention? What what was the process? How do I move forward? And so, you know, although being illegal in Florida and working, obviously there's a need, and obviously businesses are using illegal labor to fulfill those needs. Is something that our laws need to address. I mean, reasonably, and humanely.
The way you present information is often more important, or just as important, as the information itself. This is a very fundamental aspect of today's society. Is it reasonable to, try to eliminate crime? Yes. Is it reasonable to try to regulate labor? Yes. But the way that you communicate that can give a lot of people the wrong idea. It's not just undocumented migrants that have concerns. A lot of legal immigrants now have concerns
Sure.
that they're not welcome, because what we have presented is kick them out, yeehaw America, not that we're trying to improve necessarily.
Sure. And there have been anecdotal instances of legal residents who are citizens
Who get in
or
trouble.
on a green card who have been, their legal status or their residency status have been questioned. There are instances of that. Is it rampant? I don't think so. However, those individuals, I can understand, will be fearful of being stopped or being questioned at a hospital about their legal status, or harass or see that as harassment.
Exactly. Like when you take a hard line stance on immigration, you are obviously working to combat crime. You're hoping to give the opportunity to the legal immigrants and not the illegal ones. You're hoping to get your priorities in that way. But too often we devolve into aggression. We devolve into paranoia. It's the illegals are everywhere. they're Mexican, they're what, or Chinese or Irish, whatever it is, depending on the period of time. E- And then it's easy to just automatically assume people are. I worked with a guy at my first restaurant job who everybody suspected was illegal. He was not illegal, but because he was Guatemalan, people just assumed, because his English was just okay. So a lot of people just took the liberty of assuming. But no, he was documented.
Here in Central Florida, tourism, of course, is very important to the local and state economy. And we do know that there are individuals who are legal residents, who are US citizens from other countries, who are not legal residents of Florida or the United States, who are employed in the hospitality and lodging um, community. So it's this new immigration law is affecting and will continue to affect that industry, and also the farming industry, which is very important here in Florida. How do we do better as far as our immigration laws? That's again up to our voters to vote in people who have a legitimate plan or legitimate ideas to present immigration laws or bills that are again humane and reasonable, and also have the input of the business community who are definitely affected by this, as well as local communities.
Yeah, and it's about the approach. If we're gonna go down the road of we're going to deport people, we're going to take an active role in intervening in this issue, we got to communicate it in a better way. We got to act like it in a better way. We have to be professional about it. Too often, it is just about shouting. It's set breaking up families. I mean, even if they are undocumented, whatever, you still don't want to break up families. I mean, there's no point. I mean, there's no gain in that. We still should be humane. When we are constantly going after all the illegals, and we all we do is discuss their nationalities, how Mexicans are ruining this country. It's We've gone outside of that mission of just controlling crime. We have gone now to aggression towards a group, and that harm can spill over to legal immigrants. It can spill over to tourists. It can make tourists feel unsafe if they walk in the wrong community now. We if I think that there is a very legitimate concern and very legitimate reasons to try to constrain immigration, but we need to communicate it with heart, with compassion, and with understanding that just because some people are illegal does not mean that you attack the group as a whole. Assume innocent until proven guilty, not illegal until proven documented.
Right. I agree with you. Where is the tipping point? What's going to happen where um, people say enough is enough, and this needs to be addressed with clear and reasonable legislation, putting floating razor barbed wire barriers in the Rio Grande to prevent individuals from crossing over into Texas and America is is not going to cut it. And sitting by and ignoring the issue also is not going to cut it. Building a wall is not going to be effective.
Of course, it's not. Most people get visas, they fly here on a plane,
Thank
and
you.
then just chill in the country. I mean, there is an argument that it can help curb smuggling, like drugs, but you're right. It can't solve the broader problem. It can't. You have to. That is a problem that will be solved internally. It'll be solved through security.
And is this, this whole immigration battle cover for the human trafficking that's occurring, that's attached to the immigration crisis that we're facing. And you're right, we're seeing people overstay their visas. That's more of an issue than it is people who are crossing the border, in my belief.
I would agree, and I mean, immigration is something that will constantly change throughout the years. Immigration used to be a circular flow where you come into America, make money, and then dip out. But then that changed. Now it's about the overstaying your visa.
Mhm.
The methods will change. The type we see will change. And we can't just be about punishment or nothing. Like we don't just need to be. We have parties that take two opposite extremes on the issue. The Democrats, though, they do some amount. They don't take it very far. It's not a priority for them, at
Mhm.
least not a high priority. And the Republicans make it a very high priority, sometimes at the cost of other things and at the cost of being aggressive. We need to like discuss the issue with actual compassion and understanding,
Mhm.
or else we're only going to cause harm or do nothing.
I
And
said,
be in this paralysis that we have right now.
I say we go back to as a starting point to that Republican stalwart, Ronald Reagan, and look at what President Reagan did as far as offer amnesty, and move from there. Look at Senator Marco Rubio's proposal, bipartisan proposal, in addressing this particular issue. Great starting points, in my belief.
Absolutely. I mean, if they're longtime members at this point, they're contributing very well. I think then we lose more from getting rid of them than we gain.
Let's tax them. Take their tax dollars.
Now that's the Democrat I know.
So my final point is this: there's a better way. There's always a better way. There's no new answers out there. Just rehashed old solutions that just need a better look.
Yeah, and don't get caught in a wave of aggression or caught in a wave of do nothingness. Actively seek out solutions. There are solutions if you're willing to look. With that, like, comment, and subscribe. Share. You better, or you'll be deported.
Yes, we're out.